guess say hi to my guest. Ladies, I'm gonna grab my coffee here before the flight and get a little bit of energy so I can kind of come up with some idea of what to film here, but I'm going to bring you with my experience on my flight to Perth. As we're on our way to our flight, we've just briefed the first officer with all the appropriate items such as aircraft technical status, weather, NOTAMs, and all that stuff, departure, and everything as we're familiar with. And now we're on the way to the aircraft, so I will see you guys on board. So as we come up the stairs, I'm gonna meet with my crew and do a slight pre-flight briefing, which usually covers the amount of flight time, amount of turbulence, aircraft technical status, and all these things.
Using this quite effective flight planning tool, we can get an idea of the flight plan that we will be taking. Starting from Ho Chi Minh Airspace, as I go down, you will see a bunch of operational note numbers. If I select them, it will give me an idea and some brief descriptions of some notes in different airspaces to keep an eye for. As I come down, we'll be crossing through Singapore airspace. Zooming out a little bit can get some topography idea of what we'll be flying over. Below Singapore, we'll be crossing through Jakarta and then finally into Melbourne airspace. If I select this number 7, you will see operational notes that are quite effective for crew briefings in airspaces. Sometimes we get a bunch of numbers that are quite close together, and if we select one, all of the numbers in the vicinity will light up, so we can basically choose which one we want. For example, as I select, let's see, if I press the number 9, I will get the operational notes for number 9, which includes flight planning routes and pertinent information. Continuing down will bring us closer to our destination, and following the west of Australia, we will finally arrive into Perth.
So after the briefing is complete, I'm going to do a thorough aircraft pre-flight walk-around inspection, which consists of a previous video I made, and I'm going to look at all the crucial elements of the aircraft to make sure that it's airworthy for flight. Shortly, I will join you back in the cockpit.
Okay, looking at the taxi chart from our route of departure today, starting at the X, we're going to taxi north on S5, which is considered Sierra 5. Once we get to the top, we're going to make a right turn on S or Sierra, and we're going to taxi all the way down to Sierra until we get to the holding point of the runway of departure today, which is 25 left. Okay, after 2 good engine starts, we've been pushed back and cleared for taxi. Usually when we taxi out, we kind of look around, and on the chart, in this chart here, specifically in Ho Chi Minh City, we have several hotspot areas, which is abbreviated in the chart as HS. And these areas can contain items such as little roadways or pathways for vehicles. It can also contain some areas where there might be heavy aircraft movement that could possibly cross the runway, or even a taxiway of intended use. So usually when we taxi out, we just kind of pay attention to these. These are briefable items, so usually during our pre-taxi brief, we will talk about these and just kind of make sure that we are both looking outside and make sure we don't cross any hotspot without paying attention to them. In case you're wondering about the taxi speeds, usually the straight ahead speeds and without any turns, we'll be no more than 30 knots. Once we hit a point where we need to turn, the average turning speed will be around 10 knots and below. And if we are taxiing or even back taxiing on a runway, the taxi speeds would be up to 40 knots. As we head down our last moments of taxi, what we like to do is just kind of remind each other of any type of engine out or emergency procedure that may come about during the takeoff. Being in Ho Chi Minh, this is a fairly simple airport for takeoff. And there are no terrain or obstacle items that we need to brief during the departure. So usually, in the event of an engine failure, we'll just climb up to a specific altitude, depending on the safety altitude zone where we're headed, and we'll just basically fly around, take some vectors by ATC until we are able to land. Otherwise, Ho Chi Minh City, it's a fairly easy airport to operate in and out of.
Baby shark.
Approaching the end of our taxi, we shall begin our preparations for takeoff. Enjoy. And during the takeoff roll, I like to maintain the center line of the runway. So when you are in the back of an airplane and you keep hearing this repetitive banging noise that gets faster and faster, those are the runway centerline lights that hit the nose wheel of the airplane. And every time one hits, you can hear the noise in the cabin of the aircraft. So when you hear this all the way until takeoff, you know that the pilot is exactly on the center line of the runway.
Yeah, boy.
Hey, that's pretty good.
A few moments later.
Demonstrating the ability of the aircraft's onboard EFB, or electronic flight bag. It's a touchscreen monitor as well. I'm going to select the arrival. One of the arrivals, just you can see all the pertinent notes inside the chart, and I can also move it around by zooming in. I can move it around with my finger, and you can see some of the pertinent chart information and identifiers for the fixes upon the arrivals. This is not the correct arrival, but I'm just kind of moving it around and showing you how this thing works in here. This is a typical arrival for a runway, I believe, coming from the south. This is the zoom out button, and let's go for the ILS arrival. Here you can see the ILS Zulu, runway 21, all of the pertinent information, the side profile. You can cycle the views as you press it. This is a top-sided view, which is fairly good for checking out the terrain and all the obstacles in the area. This is a side profile view for checking out the glide path. And my favorite view would be this next view here, which is kind of a composite view of all the important information, including the side profile and also the visibility requirements. Going down a page, you can see the airport diagram and have an idea of where we're going to land, which will be runway 21, coming down, and anticipated turnoff should be to the left as our gate is to the east. We do have a cursor on board that I can move around, but unfortunately those of us that flew the 777 before know that the cursor on this, it doesn't work. So it's fairly useless, as when you move it, it just goes from one corner of the screen to the next. But it is there.
Really, nigga?
Coming back, I can show you that we also have the ability to zoom through the waypoints on the computer. If I go over to the planning mode, and down here you'll see step. I can step from one fix to another, and I can kind of run through the flight plan route. For example, I'm pressing the step button right now, and as I press it, you can see the airplane go down from the fix to the next fix and the next fix and so forth.
Okay.
With this, we have the ability to zoom in and zoom out, so I can get a greater picture view. As you see, the next step over here is going to get us to the airport diagram, or close to it, as we finish the arrival and the approach. Once we get over it, I'm going to try to zoom in as much as I can and see if I can get the airport diagram on the page. It will take some time for this data to upload, and once it does, we'll have an actual airport map on the computer display, on the display tube here. It is taking some time. Let me zoom through some more fixes and see. Okay, here I see the airport is loading, as it says load on the screen. There we go.
Oh my God!
So now we have loaded the airport diagram. You can see the runway of intended landing, which is set for runway 21. Nice. Just to give you an idea, that's the range mode. This lets us zoom in and also lets us zoom out.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Maximum range is 640 nautical miles, which is quite extensive. But for this, we will use a much smaller range so we can actually see where we're going. We will begin our descent fairly soon towards the airport. We are going to be landing on runway 21. After we land, we're going to make a left turn on C9, also known as Charlie 9, and then a left turn on C or Charlie. We will taxi all the way until we hit the T lane, make a right turn, going to the next page. Once we get inside of this T lane, we are going to follow the line, and the line will lead us to our parking, which is gate 151. As we turn right, there she is, straight in front of us. As you can see during the nighttime, it's fairly chill and quiet outside. And there's not a lot of traffic. Well, it depends on where we're going, but it seems to be in the west of Australia. I don't see too much airplanes.
A few moments later.
Oh no!
nice and smooth landing onto runway 21.
Approaching minimums. Minimums. $50, $40, $30, $20, $10, $5.
Bruh. You serious?
Vietnam 791, take it with Charlie Nova, taxi Charlie, Tango Land for Bay 151. Background X-Ray, Kilo India, on the Whiskey Runway, request taxi back to Skipper Zebra. X-Ray, Kilo India, taxi Whiskey, Hotel Runway 21. TV Whiskey, Hotel Runway 21, Kilo India.
Okay, after that landing, I can definitely say it.
Got him! Got him!
We will turn off the runway and taxi back to the gate as briefed. Seriously, that's... Damn! They gave us just 151. Shutdown what? approaching the parking stand, I will set the parking brake and then turn off the engines. I hope you guys enjoyed the flight and look forward to seeing you guys again soon.